Are you looking for strategies around making money on YouTube? Well, in this episode of the VI Show, I interview successful creator and entrepreneur Dan Jones about how he's been able to monetize his very niche YouTube channel. He'll share his tips on what you need to do right away and lay out a strategy for you to make money ASAP. All that and more coming up on the VI Show right now.
This video is brought to you by LearnVideo.live, a free online training revealing the exact strategies we use to grow highly influential and profitable YouTube channels from scratch. Watch it free for a limited time at LearnVideo.live.
Welcome to Video Influencers. This is the VI Show. My name is Benji Travis, and we're helping build your influence, income, impact with online videos. Sean and I started this channel to help you crush it right here on this platform, and we're the co-authors of YouTube Secrets. Make sure you pick up a copy at Audible, Amazon. We always love your reviews as well. But today, we're getting into monetization strategies, specifically with an amazing guest, Dan from the Aspie World. I'm sorry we didn't mention it in the intro, but I would love for you to come on here now, Dan. Welcome to the VI Show. I'm excited.
Hey, dude. I'm awesomely stoked to be here, dude. How's it going?
For sure, it's great, and I'm excited because we're talking about something so many people are interested in, which is not just YouTube, but how to make money on this platform. But before we get into it, Dan, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your channel, and a little bit about your story, how you went from 0 subscribers many years ago and now rocking it 100,000 subscribers in a very niche genre of YouTube?
Sure, I'd love to. So, I mean, my story really ties into why I started and how I started and the content I do. So, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, ADHD, and at the same time when I was 26 years old. But before that, I had a bunch of different diagnoses, and I'd been through that whole process of my parents trying to sort things out when I was in school and failing and all this kind of stuff. So, I did that. I would go on YouTube and learn, but then there was nothing on YouTube that was exciting, and there was nothing that you could learn really about autism or Asperger's. So I decided to upload my own YouTube channel, doing the videos that I felt were missing from that kind of sector. And that's kind of like, that's the beginning story of it. But in terms of the content I make, I create educational videos that are geared towards parents, loved ones, advocates, and people who are on the autism spectrum as well, understand the subject, the topic, from a very interesting point of view. So they see it from the insider point of view, almost from the horse's mouth. And that is presented in a fun way, which is entertaining and engaging, because a lot of the content before that was really boring. How do you spice up a very boring subject like autism? And so I try to do that the best way I can with my charisma and personality. I guess I try and put that in there. And in terms of growing on the platform, it's such a narrow niche. When I first started my YouTube channel, it was so difficult to pay attention to those videos and get subscribers, because it's such a bizarre niche. Who's searching for how to help my kid choose what to eat in a restaurant with Asperger's syndrome? It's such a bizarre thing to search for. But I realized very quickly that was giving me the monopoly on the subject matter, that I could actually, curate my content and optimize my content to perform rapid growth through engagement and various tactics, which I love doing, which is YouTube SEO. And then in a very short space of time, really, it kind of went from maybe 10,000, 14,000 subscribers, right up to 40,000 subscribers. And then within a couple of months, went up to over 100,000. So it's very much doable within an interview, and I hope that kind of explains what I do.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, a little bit before we were talking, I've known Dan for many years. I knew him when he was at 0 subscribers, and he's crushing it. And like I said, I always learn from you. But if you're watching right now and you can relate to Dan and you've got a small niche type of channel, let us know in the chat area what your channel is all about. It's great for me to get a little bit of context on who's watching. And there's other channels, Dan, that our subscribers followers of ours that actually have a similar type of niche to you. So that's why I'm excited to get into some of your tips. But let's just jump right into it. One of the things I love about everything that you do is you're just always looking for new opportunities, right? You're a no excuses guy. You search for the solutions, but also I love the simplicity of your strategy. So let's dive into what are some of the tips that you would want to share. Like, what are the first things you need to know and do as a YouTuber if you want to make money on this platform?
Oh yeah, 100%. I love this topic. I think, and you know what's funny? When I first started YouTube, I was like, that's all AdSense is making. I was like, this is crazy. I'm never going to be able to, afford to buy any more equipment, And at the time I was working a job like part-time, and kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to go full-time on YouTube was because of my condition didn't kind of bow well in, typical environments and working environments. So anyway, I was kind of shocked at the amount of money that AdSense. I started to like, well, how would I monetize what I'm doing? And I couldn't find answers, to be totally honest with you. I couldn't find answers because it was back, I know it was like 2011 or something when I first, no, sorry, 2013 when I first kind of put videos up there to try and get monetization. Now, in terms of the first things that you need to do, give as much value as possible, but know the subject that you're talking about. So there's no point in starting a channel and you only know like, I've read a couple of comics, so I'm going to do a Marvel comic review channel. But then you try to do a comic type of download where you're explaining to people how to review comics or how to pick the best ones. But if you don't know what you're doing inside and out, then you're not going to be able to add the value that people are looking for. So the first thing I did was make sure that everything I can offer people watching my channel would be high volume, high value kind of information.
Mm,
Now, I wait for free in order to get them onto my mailing list. And by getting them onto the mailing list, what you're doing is you're converting traffic that you do not own, which is traffic that YouTube owns, or Google or wherever you're, advertising, and then you're pulling them onto your platform, which is your mailing list, and you control that mailing list. So you're able to then set about monetizing it, and it's very simple. You can advertise. You can use Patreon to kind of get people to do that. You can advertise products to get people to support you, or whatever it is you're going to do. But the first thing you have to do is add as much value as
yeah.
possible. And I said this, I think when we were chatting before, I said that one of the first things I do when people say to me, hey, I'm going to start this YouTube channel on X, Y, and Z, what's the first? Go 50 video topics ASAP and tell me that you can make very good videos on those 50 topics. And then you have somewhere to start. And then those topics are your value. They're the values that you're giving to somebody, because everybody obviously is searching on YouTube for value or entertainment, and entertainment obviously is value.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's converting into.
Yeah,
That's the
one
first
thing
thing.
I want to mention is why I love this point, even though it's so basic, is people get a little premature on the making money side and they forget the importance of the videos itself. In fact, there's some people on here that are always asking questions and I try to answer them and give them some tips and strategies, but then you look at their YouTube channel and they haven't uploaded in a long time. So the reason this point is so specific and so valuable, everyone, is because not only is it important to upload videos, but you have to really be an expert on it. Like, you really need to know, at least be so passionate that you know as much as you can up to this point. Because remember, there's tons of other people in the world also creating content around it, and you want to be able to add value to someone that's going to come to your channel. And that's just the name. In the beginning, when YouTube was a small little community, you might have been able to get away with it, like not really knowing what you're talking about, not being an expert. But now you definitely can. Now, one thing before we get into your next tip on the next step for a monetization strategy is now, say you're not an expert. Dan, what would be your tips for someone? Like, should they wait to become an expert, or what kind of content should they upload before they get to that point where they're more competent as an expert?
Sure. I think, like, in terms of thinking, am I an expert in something? it's kind of like you wouldn't go on stage in front of 100,000 people and give a talk on kind of like chemical biology if you've never studied it in your life, you know? So to be confident in something, you know, it is why are you doing it in the first place? Now,
Yeah.
if you wanted to start a YouTube channel and you don't know what you're doing, one of the best ways to do this, well, there's two ways you can do it. The first one is you can document your life or document your journey and what you're doing. You could even document the fact that you're trying to find your feet in YouTube and
Yeah.
upload that, because that in itself is value that you could offer somebody. But the second thing is to have an idea of the types of content that you think you're good at, run and see which one bites. And this is called testing. You know, when you're running things like Facebook ads, we do the same process. I run like 9 Facebook ads in one time. I see which one works. I look at that, and then I optimize it again, and then I run it against a bunch of other ads, and I see which one performs best. I do the same with content on YouTube. Say I write down. I said I do subjects on mental health, autism, and various other kind of lifestyle bits. But I always try to curate my content to see which one is the best performing content and use that and go, because up until this point, like Benji, you'll know when I first started, I did all kinds of content, and there was
Yeah, totally.
all kinds of stuff floating about. But until that point where you say, okay, which ones don't work, you have to drop the ones that don't work, because it damages your authority on YouTube, and it makes you look a bit of a schmuck because these videos ain't performing. And it's like, what is he doing? He's got a video that's got 20,000 views, and then he's got a video that's got like 2 views, you know, like what is he doing? So always think like, which videos work, drop the others,
Yeah.
go with that.
I love that point too that you mentioned about testing different types of ideas, especially at the beginning. So normally, you know, Sean and I both on this channel, we agree you want to be focused on a niche, something very specific and that's unique to you, and just stick to it. But if you're maybe younger, you're not an expert at something, you're still trying to find your footing, like you mentioned, it's okay to be a little bit more eclectic and upload different things. And I'm not gonna show anything right now, but if you show my screen mutually, you can actually see that Dan, he didn't always start out as the expert, you know, autism guy that you see now. I mean, like there's an eclectic mix of stuff, and I'm sure that you know, you've even deleted some stuff. I don't know if you have,
I have.
but yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness, those thumbnails are terrible.
so the reason I'm showing you that is because everybody needs to get their start, and even if you aren't confident in something or you don't know everything and you're not an expert, I think that documenting your experience is important. But the first tip is know what you're talking about and make sure you add value. So what would be the next tip going closer to the actual monetization?
Sure. So in terms of once you know what your niche is, there are various ways outside of YouTube to monetize. Like I was talking a bit before in the conversation about funnels, and I'll talk about funnels in a short while. But the first things I do is I look at things where in areas of my life, I know a lot about working environments for autism, right? So then I put the feelers out there to say to some companies, hey, I could consult with you guys about you know, autism in the workplace, and you could get paid for doing that because
Yeah.
companies need that information to do that. And so monetizing my business model by referring them to saying, hey, check out my YouTube channel as my, like, you know, my resume, and then saying I can consult with you on the bits on like a deeper level, like offering a deep dive and using YouTube as the front end bait type of content. That was the first thing I did. Then the other one was looking for opportunities for speaking engagements. Maybe you could you know, speak at events. Another thing I did when I first started out really early on. And then the speaking engagements, because you know what you're talking about, because you're like the authority on that subject, the speaking engagements will come naturally, or they'll agree to let you kind of be on their show because you know what you're talking about. You have this YouTube channel. Again, it's almost like your resume, and you refer to this all the time. And then after that, another thing I did was create my own product, my own digital products, and then I sold digital products. But one of the main ones is funnels. Am I good to talk a little bit
For
about
sure.
funnels,
Yeah, like
Benji?
get into it because of course I don't want to take away your thunder, but this is probably one
Sure.
of the number one mistakes people make. They're not building this one list. And what is that? And I think that'll get us into funnels.
Sure, absolutely. So, in terms of like, and I said this to Benji when we were talking about doing this show. I said like one of the things I did when I got too cocky when I was first starting the YouTube channel, thinking, ad revenue is going to be great, brand deals are going to fly in, and that's what I'm going to make my money on. I'm going to be there with my Rolex and all this kind of rubbish, and it was ridiculous. That never happens. That would never happen. Even Jake Paul will tell you that just does not happen. And I was talking to Jake Paul about this actually, and I managed to monetize my Pinterest page because we did a bunch of stuff on Pinterest. But what I'm trying to say is that YouTube ad revenue is only a very small percentage of how you
Yeah.
can make money. And so what again, and it's the reason is, and I keep reaffirming this, the reason is the traffic that you get on your YouTube channel is traffic you do not own. You cannot monetize traffic you don't own 100%. That is why YouTube only give you like 47% of the revenue,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Or because they own that traffic. So how do you do it? Email list is the most basic but most profitable thing ever. Now, back when I started, I didn't know. I was like, oh, I'm not going to do an email list because nobody's doing email lists. It's like so 1992, in e-zine. And I was like, nobody reads e-zines. But then I thought about all the things I bought from Amazon, and then I get these Amazon suggested emails, and I'm like, holy smokes, why didn't I not do this for my own audience? And then I'm thinking to myself, well, if I had audience like YouTube has audience, then rather than having a brand pay me to advertise their product, I could just tell the audience I have a product, and they could buy directly from me, right? It's a no-brainer. So this is what you do. You create an email list, which is going to be your core audience email email audience list that you can capture, and you need to capture their email using a bait type of performance where you for me, this is how I do it. I have a free download, like an ebook download, and then I say to everyone, hey, if you want to download the free ebook, then click here, download the ebook, and then they, in exchange of having the value of the ebook, which isn't fluff, by the way, it's an actual very much thought out process. You give them the book, and then they give you the email address, and the email address goes on a list. And this is almost like an automated process because you're
Yeah.
not sitting there writing these email addresses down and having them. It's all automated. So after you have this list, what you can then do is create an automated email campaign that sends them emails like every week, every day, however you want to set it up, that warms that audience up to what you're about. Tell them your story. Give them more content. Give them as much content you can offer of high value, and they'll forever be in your debt, in inverted commas. Now, moving on to the funnel, what happens then is I invite all of them into a webinar, and then we do a live webinar where I give away some more high value tips and tricks, especially for parents, dealing with their kids
Yeah.
and people on the spectrum and loved ones and all this stuff. And then I say to them, this is all well and good, but if you want to do a deep dive, why don't you buy my course, like an online course, which I created, I create with videos anyway. So I create an online course, I host it online, and those people can then, if they really want to, and you've already warmed them up through this like email funnel system, then you say to them, hey, why don't you buy my course? Because this course is going to give you loads of value, and it is, and you appropriately value that course price wise. And that is the best, most
Yeah.
profitable way to monetize anything. And that was a very, very crude version of how it works, but that is typically how it works. And it's all about getting your ownership and then telling them what you have to offer, because they're always going to want to buy from you because they're your customers.
And the reason I love these tips, like number one, know as much as you possibly can in your niche, like to an extent be an expert, right? Capture emails by giving value and receiving their email for an ebook that's valuable, right? And the third one is create the end of the funnel, or basically the end of the transaction, more value, right? Whether it's a webinar, some kind of digital event, and then sell another product. The reason all this makes so much sense and the simplicity of it is that very first point, knowing as much as possible and doing the research, looking at other people's videos, reading the books on it. Like you even mentioned, when you're running, you're listening to audiobooks because there's only so much that you can realistically put into one video and make it rank, right? Make it evergreen and people are searching and watching. Because if you put all that knowledge into a video, it could be like an hour or two long. But then what you do is with all that knowledge from the beginning, you write your ebook. By the way, when we first started video influencers, we also had an ebook, like from like the very, very beginning. And that's how we captured emails until we finished writing the actual book. Yep. And then we use that email list to tell people about that book. So this is a strategy I can relate to. And it's interesting because in the beginning, it might not make you money. In fact, that's not really the point of building the email list initially. It's
No.
when you finally get there. And so this is a strategy anybody can implement. Can you share with us, like, say there's somebody that's starting at 0 subscribers, right? And they
Yeah.
take your tip of being an expert and knowing as much as possible. They're super passionate, but they're also now competent and maybe they are an expert. What are like the first types of videos they can create as you're just starting to learn before they get their physical product or their Booyah digital product? Maybe they do got an like an ebook. What would be your suggested first couple of videos to capture those emails?
I would say that the videos you have to create and the best ones to create are the how-tos or the
Yeah.
answering questions. I say how-tos, but like answering somebody's question because everybody has a burning desire to know something about X, it could be anything. Everybody always want to know questions. And you're looking at the best search engine optimization is when someone's saying, I need to know the answer to this question. Now, if you can answer that question in your niche, make videos all around about reading everything you can about your subject or whatever. Like when I'm always studying stuff. Like I have a bunch of books to get to. I have a bunch of I listen to when I'm running, and those books are teaching me how to run ads on Facebook or how to optimize content on YouTube. Right. Still, I even have Benji's book in audio format and physical format because I
Thank you.
rock the audio book as well. No, you're welcome. Because you put it this way, you might think that, oh my goodness, I'm going to read 10 books and there may only be 2 pieces of information that I get from those. But those 2 pieces of information that you get from that book is going to be golden because you've taken the time to research it together and also aligns your head with that, what you're doing. So when you're creating content to push out to lead generate those people downloading your free ebook or whatever, you're trying to offer them as high value as possible, and that value will be answering a question, their burning question that they're like dying to know the answer to in your niche, and that is the best content. And I would make 5 videos on that and spread them out over a month or so, so you have kind of like almost like a campaign that you release at that time.
Yeah, you know what's great about that tip is if you're answering a question, the question can literally be the title of your video, right? And of course, there's so much more
Yeah.
to researching the best title or what's the most optimized to rank for somebody's search. But if you're just a beginner, literally in your niche, and I always use gardening, right? So think of a problem or a challenge somebody has in your niche. And for me, gardening would be why are my tomato leaves turning yellow? And so literally, and say like you have a garden ebook because you want to build that e-list. And this gardening book is everything around tomatoes, right? It's too much information to put into one YouTube video. But what you can take is one answer of a question. It's like why are my tomato leaves turning yellow and how to fix it, right? And you answer that in like a 3-minute video. And then at the end of that video, you say, hey, by the way, if you're interested in growing the best tomatoes ever, download my ebook. It's completely free. Oh, that's another thing too. You didn't really mention it, but for us,
Sure.
we literally gave our ebook away for free, right? Or like a YouTube checklist.
That's
Can you
right.
talk
Sorry, yeah.
about, are you giving your stuff away for free? And would you suggest that to other people and why?
Yeah, okay, so I 100% give it away for free. My ebook is for free, my webinars for free. The first part of my course is given away for free. The first 5 videos, the first 5 kind of like chapters of my course are given away for free in that email funnel. And the reason being is because what you're trying to tell the people, the viewers, these people who are dying to know this question is that you have done all the work for them. That's all they want to know. Because people, let's face it, people are super lazy if they can, and it's a good thing because if you're a lazy thinker, you're trying to do things more efficiently. That's all it means. Like laziness online is trying to do things more quickly, and we all want it. We all want a faster internet, and we want everybody to do the work for us and a plugin that we use rather than learning to write code, right? So when you're giving a book away, you're giving it away for free because you've done all the work for them and you've packaged it and given it to them. Like they don't have to do anything other than give you their email address because their email address is a throwaway item to them, and your book is a high value item to them. So it's not going to cost them. That's exactly what you need to do because the more free value you can give away, the more
Yes.
dividends it will pay back to you in the end.
Yeah, you're basically priming the pump, right, for that later call to action when you do have monetize. In fact, that's how Sean and I looked at it. I mean, we went 4 years before really monetizing anything. We did have some early sponsorships, we had AdSense going, but it was 4 years before we, published this. And then once we did, I forget, our email list was pretty hefty. I mean, like tens of thousands for sure. And then, our book had a much better start. In fact, somebody on here mentioned they just published their book. Heather Psych D said, just published my book, hasn't sold a copy yet. And that's okay. But guess what? Put out free content, add that value like Dan mentioned, and it's only a matter of time where once you do the call to action at the very end, someone's like, wow, if I got this kind of valuable information for free, I wonder what's in the paid stuff, right? I wonder what the book is like. So anything else you want to leave in? I have a question I want to kind of like get to, like, I think a huge question that'd be valuable for people starting at zero. But what else would you want to add to this?
Yeah, I mean, two things I wanted to add to the email list and why it's valuable is because if you're building an email list, you think about this, when you drop a video into YouTube, the algorithm only shows a certain percentage of the people who are actually subscribed to your video, right? So they don't even know it's up. But if everybody who is subscribed to you also is on your mailing list, you just email them and say, hey dudes, new video's gonna go give me some love, and they're more inclined to do it. It's an amazing way to capture that audience and give yourself a head start on views, which gives you that 24-hour SEO boost, which is amazing. Now, to the person who just wrote that question about the book and not sold a copy, don't worry about it. I've been there. I now have a best-selling book in the United States and the UK in 3 languages, which is crazy. But this is how I did it. I created a small PDF of the first, like, half a chapter of the first chapter of the book, right? And then I gave that away. And then I gave it away as much as I could. And I said to everybody, hey, look, this is the book. But if you want to read the rest of the book, you have to buy the rest of the book. So if people are truly interested in what you want to buy the rest of that, but you have to hook them in, and that's the best way to do it. So I highly advise giving out the first chapter for free, but with a call to action to say, hey, you can buy the real version or the full version here. And that's basically how I did it.
Yeah, and just know that this is not a limited, or this strategy is not just this strategy isn't limited to literally just YouTubers and like a ClickFunnels. Legit authors now will offer their books for free sometimes, because that's the beginning of their ClickFunnels, right? And the only thing you need to do to get their book is, by the way, I'm not like always promoting this. I'm just holding it. That's the only book I have around here. But they want to give their book out for free to get your email, right? And nothing wrong with that. If they're willing to give a book away for free, then I think they deserve your email, but they know that's going to be the beginning of a journey, right? Because if you're signing up to get somebody's book on a specific topic, you're almost signaling to that you definitely are, that you're interested in that. And so that creates this big group. And I love what you mentioned also, Dan, about the initial publication of a video and using that email list. That's definitely been a problem. Let me know in the chat area if you can relate to this. You feel like your subscribers aren't seeing your videos aren't getting suggested by YouTube, or for whatever reason, people are even getting unsubscribed. Whatever that is, whatever is happening, an email list is a way around all of that. It's a guarantee that that person, at least on that day, is going to get something in their inbox. So before we get to the next question, any last thoughts on this? And I know this was, like you said, a more like simplified version of a more complex funnel, but I love what you're saying and the simplicity of it. Anything you want to add, though?
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I'll add about email lists is definitely the way that you can make a lot of money for your business, because you can sell direct to customer product, right? But one of the things that you have to do, and I'm calling you out on this, everybody's watching this, personal and genuine. When you're writing the email, actually write it. Don't do that copy and paste nonsense. Actually, literally sit down and think, hey, this is me. Like I email out, I'm like, yo guys, this is Dan. What's going on? I hope you guys have a great day. You know, I had a really tough day yesterday, but you know, I'm going well today. Check out this new thing I just launched, blah, blah, blah. Talk soon, Dan. Take care. Kiss. You know, and that's real. That's actually me writing that. And they get it. And they're like, and they email back. They say, hey Dan, how's it going? This is key. This is key. always email back the people who email you. If they've taken their time to email you back and say, hey, I'm going to check out the product, or hey, I love the video, thanks a lot, have the decency to email them back and say, thank you so much for taking the time to email me and watching my video or buying my product. I love it. Because what you're doing is building customer relations and that engagement with that person. Because let's face it, anybody who's watching your videos is a potential customer. You're telling them that you're genuinely you, and they're more tempted to buy from you when you're genuine.
For sure. And I love it. And the next question I think is going to be very valuable for people. And then we got this bonus Instagram tip that literally Dan just told me about today. So we're going to get into that. But again, you guys, if you're getting value, hit that like button. Again, in the comments below, let us know what is your channel about, what's your niche, and what's going to be the first thing you're going to offer for free. Okay. Whether it's just the videos or a PDF or an ebook, I definitely want to know. And we'll try to answer some of the questions afterwards too. But yeah, what else?
Yeah, Benji, just one thing I would like to say to people. If you're worried about trying to build your email list and you don't have that product to add out yet, this is one thing I did straight away, right? And this goes for everybody watching who has a YouTube channel or a Facebook page or whatever. When somebody comments, comment back to every single person individually and say to them, hey, answer their, then also say to them, hey, I would love for you to join my email list. Stuff going on. I'm giving away like these blog emails every week, and offer them more value, because they're going to be more inclined to say, hey, this guy responds. And also it's going to give you dividends in the algorithm as well. It's going to kind of boost you up. So always reply, but you can also slide in the call to action to say, hey, why don't you sign up to my mailing list? Hey. And I use that everywhere. Everything I do, I message everybody back. And actually, while I'm on it, if you guys are commenting on the after it's up or whatever, I can always comment back if this video is going to be up. I don't know if this is going to be on the channel, but if so, I will always to anybody who asks a question for me.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is definitely going to go up, and we're about to do the Q&A, everybody. And remember that Q&A is available to you guys right now live. But if you're watching the replay, it's only for the members of the VI club. So make sure you hit that join button if you want to get into it. But Dan, we've got a lot of people that are getting a lot of value.
Sure.
I see a lot of likes coming in. But there's people are starting at zero. They just started, or maybe they're just getting their feet wet. It's their first year on YouTube. And I've been asking a lot of our guests on this show this one question. Can you imagine? I know it can kind of be stressful. If you had to start all over, right? Knowing what you know and the experiences you've had, the mistakes you've made, the successes you've been able to experience, what would be the things you'd be doing in your first 30 days? I feel like this is the question for presidents, right? What's your first 30 days on YouTube look like? What are you doing to get to that monetization as soon as possible? What are you doing to build your influence? And I am excited to hear your answer.
Okay, awesome. I love this question because I think about it daily. What you need to do is the first thing you need to do is write down a list of topics that you want to talk about, right? So write down 52 topics, so you got at least one video a week that you could create and pump out. Then study YouTube SEO, study everything there is. Go on Video Influencers, watch everything Benji and Sean, look at what Sean's talking about there. Look at like Daryl Eves, Gary Vaynerchuk. Listen to the people who are killing it on YouTube to say, because what they're saying is 100% accurate and valuable. Now, do this for at least a month, every single day, every spare time you have. If it's a lunch break in work, if it's after the kids go to bed, after you've had dinner, read, and research everything about how YouTube works, how videos are found, how to market your videos, everything. Then implement, give away your free PDF, and ask for an email list and build the email list from the get-go. And then the next thing I would do, this isn't all within the next 30 days, is all the videos that go out, I would study the analytics and then look at a video, how to improve my analytics. Nobody does it from the word go because they're too concentrating on the end. To look at is the short term. How do I improve this video? Nobody does that. Everybody checked up a bunch of content and hope that it goes.
Yeah.
Look a bit on that.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love it. So, obviously, first thing is get all your ideas lined up and start creating content at least weekly. Secondly, is do the research on how to SEO, right? How to optimize everything, crush it,
Everything.
and then any videos. By the way, this is all so simple, right? But it actually works, and this is what Dan does, and it's no different than if he's starting. Look at the analytics of the current videos, and even if you can just optimize it by one more view, right, or a few seconds more of audience retention, that all stacks. And it's the same as the emails too. By the way, I'm just throwing it out there. Why not have some kind of PDF, some like freebie to give away to start collecting those emails? What happens is initially you might only get a few views or one email, but you stack it up on all those
Better than
52
zero.
videos and that momentum. And that's what's happened to you, Dan. I mean, would you say that's correct?
Honestly,
That like all
yeah,
that
100%.
work, it almost like exponentially grew. And even with this year being such a tough year for
It
so
did.
many people, it just skyrocketed your growth.
Yeah, dude. Let me really really quickly before we go on the Q&A tell you a little story about when I met you at VidCon when we were hanging out in 2018, right? Put this into perspective. And anybody watching right now, this is living proof, okay? In 2017, I had 10,000 subscribers on my channel, and a girl who was doing similar content to me overtook me and got like 20,000 subscribers. And I thought that was it. I'm done for. I've got, I'm going to give up, and my content's not worth it. Then I was like, oh, no. There must be more to why my content isn't performing. So every single night, and Jake Paul told me this. He said, read everything you can about your business until if it's 3, 4 o'clock in the morning that you're going to bed and you only have 2 hours sleep, do it because you're investing in your business. So every single night I used to stay up obsessively. I watched every video on video influencers. This is a true story. And then I watched every video I could on Backlinko's website. And then said, okay, I've got all of this data and I'm going to action those changes because you'll find what you need to improve. And I put those January of 2018. Now, if you so 10,000 subscribers, right, in January 2018. If you fast forward to July 2018, when we were at VidCon, Benji, you interviewed me because I just hit 47,000 subscribers. And then a couple months later, I hit 100,000 subscribers.
Wow.
So you can literally see on my social blade, like you can see this actual kind of like growth, but it was just flatline of ages, and then it just like boom. Because I took into going to check up videos and hope for the best. I'm going to study, learn, and analyze what's going to make that video. The proof is in the pudding there. Like, you have to do it. Practice makes progress.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. I didn't even understand the significance of your exponential growth. You guys definitely, I mean, this is the thing. This is not what he teaches, so this is a unique thing to have Dan share all this. But if you want to check out his channel, because I always say one of the best ways to learn is see how somebody's crushing it is doing it, and then model after them. We have the links down to his channel down below. But before we get into the Q&A, I want to hear this one Instagram strategy. So tell us about this very simple thing that anybody can do with their Instagram following in terms of their business and selling a product, because seriously, it's not just genius, but it's genius in its simplicity.
Sure. Okay. I love this. And like I was saying to Benji when I told him about this hack, I always look for like, what can I do to make more revenue and more leads to potentially sell more products to my customers who want more from me. They're only following me because they want more data. They want to pay for it. I was like, how can I do this on Instagram when Instagram isn't a very easy monetizable platform unless you're getting brand deals, right? So I had this idea, and it works really well, where you put out an advert, like almost like a question, like, mums and dads on here, because say I've got a product that I want to sell to mums and dads. I say, hey, any mums and dads on Instagram that want to check out some more content from me? And then they all say, yeah, me, or they send you a DM, or they reply to your poll. Then what you do is you go find the person who's positively responded, you add them to your family and friends list on Instagram, and make sure, by the way, that these are the only people on your family and friends list. And then you do that for about a week solid. And then you create curated adverts that are tailored to grab the attention of those people in that kind of traffic, because you're going to try and sell a product to them. And then you upload to Instagram stories, but set it to just family and friends only. And then that advert is shown to those people. So it doesn't mess up the content that you're putting out for everybody who's the mix on Instagram, but it's curating it to people. Now, you can do this every time you have a new product launch or a new lead gen version of what you're doing. Now, but the beauty of this though is they will see that ad, and
Yeah.
if you create call to actions like engagements in it, like DM or a poll like yes or no, then what happens is you can see the people who are positively or negatively responding within that small niche, and then you can DM them and you get them on the DMs and you can convert them by say they wanted to buy the course, but they're a bit strapped for cash and they have to pay they're doing paycheck to paycheck, but they want to pay monthly, right? And you don't have a monthly option available on the site. You could DM them and say, hey, what's the problem? And they say, oh, I can't pay for it all in one go, but I'd love to take the course. You offer them a payment plan. So what you're doing is you're selecting them, putting them into a subcategory on Instagram, just advertising to those, then hook them up in the DMs, and you start the process of creating customer relations out of that. And that is absolutely golden. Honestly, that's a tip you can take home and just absolutely rock with.
Yeah, no. So the reason this is significant, everyone, is because one of the problems with Instagram for someone that was using both as a public influencer as well as their own private family and friends, there is no way to kind of know, right? Like there's no way to separate. So Instagram created this function where you could have like a family and friends. Now, if you're just using it for your business, right, or at least that's the profile for that, you can just use a family and friends function for this subgroup, these kind of super fans or the people that have already bought your product. In fact, you can even say like, make it like an offering, like, hey, you're going to be part of my family and friends. I don't know like what the call to action would be. And the reason this is significant is because remember, Instagram is owned by Facebook, and Facebook already kind of did this with groups. So Facebook groups is so powerful because when you post on Facebook groups, it gets to almost every single person on that group. So it's like a direct connection. It's almost as good as email. It's going to get on their wall. Well, this family and friends thing is a very similar direct connection to them. And I love this kind of guerrilla type of marketing where you're really going after people individually. Now, of course, you don't want to spam anybody, but what Dan says makes so much sense. You put out a post, you see who responds positively, and in addition to this being somebody that could be part of your mentoring program or like a coaching club, is you're going to be able to give the most valuable to the people that really want it, the one that are expecting it and are inviting it. Is that correct? Because that's what's powerful about this, because you're getting right to the nitty gritty in a way that is so functional because it's done right on the Instagram app.
And the last thing I'll say about this, and here's a bonus tip for everybody as well, if you're using Instagram to sell products. So say I do a product launch on Instagram, and I've done my family and friends, and those people have bought it. Then I want to open that out to everybody on Instagram. So I put an advert out about my course, and I get some conversions. But then I look and I say, well, maybe only 3 or 4 clicks came over. So I put out an Instagram story saying, hey, did you download my course yet? And then I only give 2 options. I say, heck yes, I got it, fire emoji. And then the negative part where you'd say, no, I haven't, I change that to something positive, like not at the moment, or can you tell me more, or I'd like to know more first. So the people who click I'd like to know more first is they're not telling you that they're not going to buy it. What they're saying is that they need more information. So you click on that, you see who's asked for more information, and you DM them individually, and then you cause that conversion within the DMs. Then you've got them in a DM, you can get them on the customer service, kind of like, hey, what's going on? I'd love for you to take the course. This is why. What issues have you got? Why can't you take it? Is it a price thing? Is it an availability thing? So remember, you're not asking people to say yes or no. You're asking people to say yes, but maybe not yet. You know what I mean? And so that's no option, because that's ending a lead. That's killing a lead dead.
Awesome. No, it's amazing. Like I told you, I already learned something. I'm definitely going to utilize that because I don't even separate it into family and friends, because I just use really Instagram for what I do publicly. So genius. Thank you so much, everybody. We're about to do the Q&A, so stay tuned. But if you're watching the replay, remember, join the VI Members Club. All the Q&As are available for replay, so hit that join button right down below. And any last words you want to leave for the audience? Words of wisdom, some inspiration, something to get people motivated for the weekend. I know, like over there in the UK, it's already evening. But what would be the last things you want to leave with the audience before we get into Q&A?
Sure. at the end of the day, sometimes I'm exhausted and I'm like, oh my goodness, is this going to work? Am I going to turn my business from a five-figure business to an eight-figure business? And I can make five figures on YouTube, but I'm turning my funnel into a 6 to 7 figure business. And I'm like, can I do this? And I go to bed sometimes a bit doubtful. When I wake up in the morning, I go, yes, I'm alive. God's graced me with the power of being alive. I'm here to do amazing work to help people add value. And I get pumped and psyched every single day because every day is a new opportunity to do something amazing for somebody else. And in return, you can monetize it, but also it's rewarding in the fact that you're doing the best you can and making an impact. Don't just sit on the sidelines. Get up every day and feel pumped and like stoked to do it. I love it. And if anybody needs any more motivation, hit me up, email me, theaspieworld@gmail.com, and I will psych you up on the emails. Honestly, I love it. Reach me anytime. So yeah, remember, every day is a great opportunity to do something amazing. No matter how bad you felt the day before, every day is brand new.
Well, I feel motivated right now just listening to that. Thank you so much, everybody. Hey, hit that like button if you also felt pumped up by that. And we're going to get into Q&A. But if you guys want to check out all of our VI Show episodes, click or tap the screen right here. If you want to check out Dan's channel to see how he's crushing it, click or tap the screen right here. As always, we're helping build your influence, income, impact with online videos.